Hi, I am Krista West. I am the designer and owner of Avlia Folk Embroidery, and this is another FlossTube. Wow. Before we get started, all my stuff, you can find me on YouTube, obviously, at Krista M. West. I've got a whole mix of videos. My day job is as a Greek Orthodox ecclesiastical tailor. That's all the fabrics you see behind me. And so I have a lot of vestment videos too for my vestment clients. But today's video is actually focusing on embroidery. Whew! So much to share today. Wow. And then you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. Let's see, Facebook is at Avlia Folk Embroidery. Instagram is Krista M. West. And I try to Instagram pretty often. I've really found it fun to really sort of use Instagram to creatively inspire me and kind of push me a little bit. So that's been great, kind of show more behind the scenes and in process stuff. So that's been terrific. So to jump in today, wow, so much to share. Oh my, it's been a really busy month. I have had to go to doing floss tubes about once a month or every 3 weeks, just because thankfully everything has been really busy in the shop. September and October were pretty thin and it was a little bit touch and go, but we've definitely seen an increase in orders, which has been fantastic. So, and our November gratitude sale, boy, y'all kept me super busy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was awesome. So I have a lot of really great new stuff in the works that I thought I would share with you today and give you some updates on some older projects I've mentioned, some things that are now like coming to fruition. So anyways, let's jump in. I think the biggest thing I want to share this week is our Arcadian rose hoop kits just went live. I have been working on this design for about 3 months. The hoop embroidery kits actually have a fair amount of kind of what you call R&D that go into them before they actually ever get released on the website. So that's why I don't have that many designs. This actually makes number 4 in my collection of hoop embroidery kits. And I really want to make kits that are art inspired by classical historical textile motifs and that are very, very high quality. That's why it takes me a while to produce these. When I first set out to make embroidery hoop kits, I ordered a lot of different embroidery hoop kits of all different price points that were available online. And overall, I was actually kind of dismayed at the quality of the fabric mostly. And so what I did when I made my hoop kits is I use 100% cotton, Kona cotton from Robert Kaufman. Those of you who dabble in quilting will recognize that. It's a very high quality, wonderful cotton fabric. It's really nice to embroider on. I feel like if someone is just starting out, if they're a beginner, like picking up embroidery for the first time, that fabric that you first work on can really make or break whether you really decide to pursue the craft of embroidery further. Embroidery is so tactile and it's something that you're doing, and just whether the floss and the needle go through easily, that sort of thing. It's important that the fabric is really great. Then I have a stamp made for each design, and I stamp the design with archival ink. So should you choose to wash it, you can, and the ink for the design won't bleed through. Then I hand wind DMC floss from cones. This was kind of an interesting thing that I discovered. A lot of companies just put the little DMC hanks of floss in, but we were already buying these big cones for the cross stitch kits, and they are a much nicer quality of DMC floss. I hope it's okay with DMC that I say that. But I've had more people remark on the sheen of the floss on the cones as opposed to the hanks. I don't know what's up with that, but it's a thing. So we sit here and hand wind. The other night I was watching TV and winding like a gazillion yards of floss for you all. So anyways, the cones really kind of help. And then a John James needle. And then inside each one is also a stitch diagram for the design. It's actually printed to the exact, it's a black and white diagram of the design of the embroidery so that you can reference it. It has like where to put each stitches and the colors and everything. But you also can reuse that stitch diagram if you wanted to do another design on your own. You simply tape it to a window and then put your fabric up over it and kind of use your window as a natural light table, and then just trace it onto your fabric and you're good to go. Then there's also a stitch instruction booklet that shows you how to make the stitches if you've never stitched before. I actually was super excited to get permission from the publisher of Jacqueline Enthoven's The Stitches of Creative Embroidery. We use her sketches from that very famous embroidery book, which is my personal favorite. I have talked about it before, but it's lovely. And so we got permission to use those sketches in our instruction booklet, which is great. So those are the hoop kits. These are terrific for, I would say, kids even like age 8 and over can definitely do these because, again, the design's stamped right there. They're very easy. They're a fun small project. They're a fun gift project. And they look really pretty when they get all done. Okay, so that's Arcadian Rose. Now, because we were already using this design, I had to create the black and white image for it to use in the stamp and to use in the kits and everything like that. I thought, why not make a new needle minder? Because can you really have too many needle minders? One wonders. So we did, and let me see if I can hold this up for you and see if you can see it on the screen. But this is the brand new Arcadian Rose Avlia needle minder. So pretty. It's really intricate. It's like a really pretty teal color with the gold enamel. It also has, sorry, I'll explain about my finger in a minute. It has a really nice magnet, but the cool thing about these, the company I get them from, the magnet is in a housing, which is really nice because it doesn't snag your fabric. And this one is a 1-inch diameter, whereas our previous little pink Avlia logo needle minders are a 3/4 inch diameter. So now we have 2 sizes because some people like a smaller one and some people like a bigger one. And I find even myself, I find that I have like a collection of little needle minders, and sometimes I grab the small one for something and sometimes the larger. So that's why we did that. These come in a nice little paper sleeve that's stamped with a design. Also a very nice little stocking stuffer or Christmas gift for the stitcher in your life. So those are actually all up on the website now. So those you can get right now. Moving along. Now, that's the hand embroidery side of things. On the cross stitch side of things, wow, so much happening. So first off, I thought I would show you that I finally finished Miriam's garden. Very excited about this. I still need to do the drawn thread work, the drawn thread hem, but I was so happy with this design. Those of you who haven't heard me mention this one before, this is the first pre-cut piece or bridal chest piece that I worked for my new granddaughter, Miriam. It's based off of an 18th century Ionian island embroidery, but the embroidery was only a snippet like this. I added all the corner repeats and set up the borders and things like that. So it's actually a very new design. The original was not in a square orientation. It was just a simple little border. This is going to be coming out basically really shortly as soon as I have a chance to finish the hem and photograph it. In fact, I even found, look at what I found. So cute. I was Christmas shopping the other day and I found these cute pom-pom flowers that I'm going to stage with it. They're super cute. They're kind of like these just dorky pom-pom flowers, but I really like them. So one of my new hobbies, true confessions, has actually been buying staging props, okay? I have a lot of fun buying the props that we put in the photos. I never thought I'd enjoy that, but wow, have I been having fun. Like, for example, I got this really cool garland the other day. I have no idea how I'm going to use this stuff, but like, look at it. It's just like lovely and has a sheen and is sparkly, and I just like it. So, and then I found these other little ornamenty things that are going to be fun. And then check this little score out. I found this at a local like resale shop near my house. Look at this beautiful plate. Isn't this just stunning? I know. It's English. It's got some stamp on the back of it that I can't tell who it is. Anyways, I'm going to have to put really big glasses on, like magnifying glasses to see that. But it's from England. Very cool. So that's Miriam's garden. Okay, next up, those of you who've been asking, Delphinium cornflower should be going live in about a week or two. I'll explain about my finger injury in a minute, but I injured my finger, other hand, not this one. It's been a saga. And so I literally have, like, look at that. I have like 6 inches to finish on the drawn thread hem. So I'm going to see if I can just sort of do it in little bits because I just need to finish the drawn thread hem on it. This is a beautiful design. Classic cypress trees and cornflowers. I love it. I also love this design because it's another one of those ones like Pelopoli that you can take out the elements and you could like just use this interior border, like say on the bottom of a cloth or a bag. That would be super cool. You could also just use the spray of flowers or just use the trees. Or if you want to make a runner that's even longer, you can just keep working repeats of this. So I love these older designs that are, these kind of historic designs that are just so versatile, really. You can like just use all the elements. So look for that. I'll send an email out when this one's ready to go, but it should be on the website again in about a week or two. Now, also coming out on the website, and I got a new laptop, so I'm a little concerned that my lighting isn't great for this video, so I apologize in advance if we're seeming like we're a little dark. Maybe we'll just add ourselves a little more light there and see how that goes. Sorry about the shiny fluorescent light, but it's just what it is. The design that's coming out, it should be actually up in just a day or two. Basically, I just have to upload it all into the website, is Melianthus Border. Now, this one's been a long time in the works for me, just because I've been slow and I've had other things going on. I love this design. This is just so gorgeous. And I love the way it's got the one design, like, you know, the alternating leaves going down and then up and then down and then up. But then you also get this really amazing design, kind of sub-design that happens from the vine work of the leaves. It's just really cool. So this is going to actually be up as a pattern, a download pattern, and a kit. I was able to secure a fair amount of the discontinued legacy dower linen in coconut macaroon. I am prioritizing it mostly for kits. I'm no longer selling full yards of it because I'm really trying to prioritize that for kits. I still do have a few like fat quarter and half yard or fat quarter pieces and half yard pieces on the website. Just my favorite linen of all time to stitch on. It's definitely designed for things like table runners and household linens that are going to be used and laundered frequently. It can stand up to that. It's really like heavy duty. It's a 30 count, really fun to work on, great to do drawn thread work on. So that'll be going out as kits and patterns and download patterns. Again, probably by the end of the week, maybe even Thursday. Let's all hope for that. Okay, so next up. Like I said, it's been busy. So next up, I'm super excited. Okay, I have to just show you. This is my 10-year-old pincushion that I've used for ages and ages. I just used the little design. You'll recognize the design. It's actually the Byzantium Star bit kit design. And in there, it's worked in a different colorway, and it's a little bit different orientation with a little border. But this, years ago, like probably 10 years ago, I made this up as a pincushion. And this is on Legacy Dower linen. Sunflower seed is the color. I've had this basically at my sewing machine for 10 years. And so it gets daily, really hard use, and it's just stood up so well. And I was working on this idea of different Mediterranean motifs, like just kind of the standalone little motifs. What were kind of the classical motifs? And I was starting to see patterns emerge like stars and crosses and scrolls and carnations and things like that. So I decided to design a set of 4 of these. These just went on the website today. They are in the bit kit section. They're a bit kit. Each bit kit includes the legacy linen in the correct size that you need, already serged, ready to go, so that you can make a really fabulous pincushion or a coaster. So if you don't want to have a pincushion, you can have a coaster. And so this is the star design. Okay. I also Instagrammed some really pretty pictures of these. This is the carnation design. Love that one. See a lot of carnations and serrated carnations like coming out of Persia and India, and they make their way into Byzantium. Gorgeous motif. I am such a sucker for like a serrated leaf. Whew! This one's a really nice cross design I found. I loved it because it was like a cross and a star. Like you look at it both ways. It's just really cool. And all that intricate outlining. I mean, yes, please. This design, these designs all feature some level of outlining because there is just something. Let me find the one. There's just something magical that happens when you work ecru, like a shade that's a little bit lighter than the linen, and then you work a darker color, and then you outline it all. Oh my heavens. Isn't that gorgeous? Love this. This is the scroll design. I showed you probably a couple of FlossTubes ago a vintage embroidery, Greek embroidery that I actually purchased that now is a part of my collection. And it had this scroll motif. And I have just been so drawn to this scroll motif that I keep finding myself like using it in all these different ways. So it will also, this same scroll design is going to be coming out in a couple of months in a table runner that's called Illyrian Scroll. And it's really nice too. So, but this is a great way, these little pincushions, turn them into coasters. Or if you just want like a small patch, you could even, the fabric on these comes, oh, hang on. Hold on one second. Well, I won't grab it right now. But the fabric for these comes in a little 5-inch by 9-inch piece. So even if you did not want to make a pincushion or a coaster, you could just embroider that element there, and then you could sew it onto a bag, or you could sew it onto something else, or even make it like the center of a cushion cover. Lots that you can do with these. What else was I going to say about those? Oh, and for those of you who don't like the Sunflower Seed Legacy Linen and the red and white colorway, I also have them in Mickey, which is a bright white fabric that we're doing in a blue colorway. So that's what this looks like. Now, right now I'm working on a sampler piece of all 4 of these designs together. Let me see if I can hold it up this way. That's probably better. You can see I'm just in the middle of stitching this. And I'm really not trying to like give you the finger. Anyways, but this is the same designs, and so I can also do the pincushion kits as the blue and the dark blue and light blue colorway. You just have to put it in the order notes. Say, I want the blue color with the blue and white colorway, and then I'll just send you out the blue and white colorway. Patterns are all printed to show the red because I only wanted to do one pattern print run because it's like 4 designs and 4 separate patterns, a lot of printing. But I can totally do the blue. And this is the blue and white. This will become the Mediterranean motif sampler design. All 4 of them are going to be worked on here with these extra borders. And that's going to be a pattern that comes out when I can finish this. So, wow, like I say, very busy around here. So we have the Miriam's Garden coming out, the Arcadian Rose, Delphinium Cornflower, Melianthus Border, all this good stuff. But in the middle of all of this, those of you who have been watching my Instagram or this, you may know that I actually had trigger finger surgery on my right hand index finger 2 months ago. Thank goodness, it's all going well. I'm healing great. I just saw the doctor. Everything's looking great. And I have been able to get back to stitching. Okay, true confessions. The month I had surgery, I stitched 10,000 stitches. My doctor and I had a little conversation about that and decided that that probably was not a great idea, given the fact that I most likely have trigger finger from overuse, from renovations we were doing on our house, because I was using the sander and I was painting and doing all this kind of stuff. So the long story short is that 2 weeks ago, I started developing trigger finger in my left hand. And I'm thinking at this point, like, seriously, I'm starting to feel like Embroidery Job here. Okay. So, and I'm like, but I have drawn thread work that I have to get done, and I have other work that I have to do. I really need my hands. So my doctor and I have discussed it, and I have to take a little break from embroidery for about a month. I haven't gone like 2 days without embroidering for the last like 7 years. So this is going to be a challenge for me, very challenging for me. But fortunately, I have a number of lovely friends that are helping me out with the sample stitching, which is great. So that's allowing me to do like Delphinium Cornflower, Ksenia, thank you. She stitched that. It looks awesome. Maria did a couple of these little pincushions. Thank you. That's been hugely helpful. So those gals are working on things, and I've got about 6 or 7 gals who are doing sample stitching so that we can keep turning out full kits that have like the full photographed sample piece. So you can see what it looks like, because I understand that, you know, you want to see how it looks like. But I had this very dark night of the soul a couple of weeks ago when my hands are failing me, and I'm like, oh, how am I ever going to run an embroidery company without being able to use my hands? It was kind of a big pity party. But I suddenly was thinking about this book I had read. I think it's Stephen Johnson, and I think the book is How We Got to Now. It's one of his books. I can't remember which one. And he talks about the concept of the door of adjacent possibilities. Stay with me for a moment and I'll explain. So essentially, this concept means that certain things cannot be discovered until other things are discovered. Like, you basically imagine walking into a room and there are 3 doors in the room, and you have to go into the first room, and then you have these options of opening up these other doors. And then say you walk into the door on the right and now you're in that room. Well, you couldn't get to that room if you hadn't been in the first room. They use this concept a lot in explaining modern technological advances. Like, for example, we wouldn't have gotten to airplanes if people hadn't walked through the rooms of like steam engines, you know, or things like that. So I was sitting there feeling mopey for myself and thinking, well, what's the door of it? What door of adjacent possibility? What other adjacent possibilities have I got if I can't use my hands? So I really had to have this real soul searching period of time And I was thinking, what is my overarching goal with Avlia Folk Embroidery? Now here I'm getting very, very emotional with you here right now. But my overarching goal, and maybe call me crazy, but my overarching goal is to bring as many historic Mediterranean textile designs to this century. That's my goal. Our little tagline on the website says it all: ancient beauty for the modern world. I was bowled over when I saw the vast array of these designs when I was in Greece. And I want people to have, here in the United States and in Australia and England and different places, to have the same access to these historic designs, so that they can stitch them and enjoy them and just be a part of this long chain of history. So I realized that did not totally involve me doing everything. So I had this idea. So I'm just giving you a little sneak peek of it right now. But starting in January, I am going to start offering download patterns. Okay, so let me back up just a bit and explain. When you create an embroidery pattern to sell to someone, or as a kit, part of what you have to do is you have to stitch the sample so that then you can photograph the sample, so then you have a pretty cover image on your pattern. This is really critical. Before I learned how to do this correctly, none of my patterns sold. As soon as I hired a photographer, both to take some initial photos and then to teach me how to do it, and then hired a graphic designer, guess what? My patterns sold. So that cover image photo is really important. A person wants to see, you want to see what you're going to be making, okay? So this image is really important. But this image necessitates a full photo of a finished piece. And that's the hang up for getting more designs out there. So last year, I had this thing where I had 2 traditional Posca basket covers. These are made in Greek Orthodox homes and Russian Orthodox homes for Easter. I knew I couldn't get the sample done in time for people to start stitching. They needed to start stitching 2 or 3 months ahead of Easter. So on those patterns, I simply released the chart as the cover image, like just the chart that I make. And to my huge surprise, they sold. So it made me realize, okay, if people can just see the chart, they're okay. Not everyone needs a cover image or wants a cover image. They want to see the chart. And that made sense to me because that's how I've always bought a lot of my patterns. Like in Greece, you don't see pictures of things, you just see the chart. So I decided to start releasing designs starting in January that will be download only. I might add them as paper patterns, but I think for right now, they're going to start out as downloads. They're going to be less expensive than my other downloads. Right now, I'm tentatively going to think about a $5 download price because that just feels good. Cup of coffee or an embroidery pattern. Ooh, I think I'll choose the embroidery pattern. And they're going to be a full pattern like my regular patterns, but they will not have a staged photograph. So they will have just the chart as the cover image because I have all these amazing designs like this one. Gorgeous. It's been sitting on my table for 3 months because I have not had time to sample stitch it. And this one I could literally have out to you in a week if we don't have to have that photo. So this is another one. Somebody sent me a Balkan textile from the little village of Borovo. And I was like, isn't that thing awesome? Absolutely awesome. So I am going to start offering patterns that are going to be, the cover image will just be the chart of the pattern. And then you'll have the whole pattern and they're going to be download, possibly paper. Now here's the thing. I'm going to offer an opportunity. If you stitch that piece and you want to submit it for me to take photographs of it, then you will get a gift certificate on the Avlia website. So stay tuned for details on that because I'm kind of excited about that. Oh, and you'll get your piece back. I don't need to keep your piece. So basically, you could almost support your embroidery habit this way. I think it could be awesome. So we're going to at least try this for this next year because like I said, my doctor is like, no embroidery for at least a month. And I have to do something creatively with embroidery. So if I can't use my hands to stitch, I'm going to use my hands to at least like do my cross-stitch design software and get more of these patterns out into the world because that is my total goal with all of this work, is just to share this amazing textile beauty of the Mediterranean with as many as people who will actually listen to me, which thankfully is quite a lot of you these days. So I think that's kind of it. Oh, one last thing I did forget to mention. If you like the Arcadian rose hoop kit and you want a deal, every once in a while, and I forgot to mention this when I said this, when I'm making the kits, sometimes the stamp, like it stamps down, but I don't apply enough pressure. Maybe the stamp pad wasn't inked exactly right. So I ended with like a little 3/4 or 1 inch section that didn't get the stamp evenly. These are the reject kits. These are the seconds, okay? You've got the stamp diagram, the stitch diagram in there. So if you don't mind taking your piece and holding up against a wall and just tracing that little like 1/2 inch or inch that's missing off of that stamp, then you can pick up a seconds kit for $15 instead of the normal $22. So that's kind of a fun little thing if you're looking for a little bit of frugal option, and that's with free shipping. So not bad. But I only have so many of them because I only make so many mistakes when I'm stamping. And I actually just re-inked my stampers. So I'm thinking probably won't have too many of these because I'm hoping that by re-inking my stamper, I will have solved that problem. So I think that's it for today. If I don't, I won't be doing another FlossTube, I think, again until January. So I just want to wish all of you a beautiful Christmas, nativity, holiday season. It's such a joyful time. I know things are a little different now with COVID, and that can be very challenging, but let's just remember to stay in that space of gratitude. I mean, we have so much, and it's just really good for us to keep focusing on what we do have. I know that can get old after a while, and it's hard to keep being gracious and having gratitude, but ultimately that's what's going to get us through. Let's really try hard to build each other up and look for those opportunities where we can show kindness. Even if it's just at the grocery store or in an email or however we can do that, you know, sending people shout outs on Instagram or over social media. If we pull together, we will get through this. I know that. And if we really join our community together, we'll do this. So thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it is such a delight to have you virtually visit my workshop and see what I've got going. Have a wonderful week, and I will chat with you again in a few weeks. Thank you.